Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where we review anything and everything. And today we are going to get into, this is a air fryer. The type here is the TurboFry Touch dual window air fryer. This is the first air fryer I've ever had. So we're going to do pretty much a unboxing right now. Later on, I'm going to use it and I'm going to let you know how it was for me using it. So this is going to kind of take me over the course of a couple of days before I actually give you my actual review on it. Right now, we're going to do the unboxing. But first, let's just kind of run through the box here. Meals in minutes, convenient cooking. I've never used one of these before, so my understanding is that you can cook things in almost half the time you could a conventional oven, though a lot of products won't tell you what the cook time is for a air fryer. They'll just say conventional oven, microwave. Some of them might say toaster oven. To the best of my knowledge, most of them don't say that. Here you can see they have two trays. We're going to get into that in a moment. Here's part of the advertisement. Double the baskets, double the flavor. So you're able to cook two things simultaneously with different temperatures. Now I'm going to throw the link in the description down below for Amazon where I purchased this. I happen to catch it on a sale. I think the normal price is $120 and I happen to catch it for $90 for Prime Day, which is coming up shortly. So they have early Prime Day sales. You see some of the items that they show that are cooked on here. This pretty much is same thing as on the other side. Crispy cook, heat, shake, snack. And so I'm just gonna rip into this whole thing and we'll return back with everything out on display. All right, you guys, we're back. And here it goes. They give us a little guide in terms of how to use it, cooking guide, chicken, French fries, some of the common things, vegetables, fish, steak, bacon, all of them mostly at the 400-degree temperature, and it shows you for how long. How to care for your baskets and racks, things to do not, important stuff. You can pause and read that for yourself. Sorry if there's a bit of glare. You can pause it now, read it a little bit better. Same over here. It has free cookbook for you scan it and get different ways to cook. Let's see if we can get into this little basket here. So open this without causing it any damage. Let's see. Okay, there we go. And the other side as well. That's this. Of course, I'm not hitting it exactly. There we go. So I scraped this up a little bit, but it's not a big deal. Here it says here a little asterisk mark for the wings. It says wings for the chicken, and the French fries says for when they're frozen. So this is back a little bit, your tray. Use this and read this for yourself. Okay. Now this is the tray right here. Let me see if I have something I can give it context to. Okay, this is a pen, regular size pen. You can see right here, it's a little shorter than the width of a regular big pen. And the length is a little longer than a regular pen. To kind of give you context, the height of it in relation to a pen. So it's okay in terms of the size. There are some that probably are better for cooking more things. This is more of, like, I would say, like an individual who wants to cook a little meal for themselves, or maybe two people. But for the most part, or the fact that you want to mix it up, you can put the two same things in it. That way it gives you more coverage of the same thing. It shows right here the max line on it. You can see right there, that's where the line is for the max. But other than that, it doesn't. There are some that have like a top rack and a bottom rack that might give you more room. There's a little bit of a snap feeling when it goes inside there. Same here. Generally speaking, as I was saying, these things have definitely they're a little bit smaller of a footprint versus other ones that I've seen, like family members that might have. Here's the trays. So this essentially will go in the inside. And I guess it's to give it a better sense of being cooked because you have some of the air now going underneath. I don't know if this is used all the time or it's a sometime use thing. I'll have to read up on that. But that's going to be added to the ending part of the view. Like I said, I'm going to use this for a bit, then I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell you guys my thoughts on it. And I don't fully know my way around the whole thing at the moment. So once I finish really using it, I'll be able to tell you guys. This kind of gives you a sense of the size. It's not very big. So hopefully it's one of those things where the footprint is not bad in terms of how much space it takes up. Comes with 2 of those trays, like I mentioned, and an instruction manual. All right, you guys, and I'll be back in a few to finish off the review. This right here is 24 minutes of being in the air fryer. All right, you guys, so I am continuing the review of the CHEFMAN dual tray air fryer. That's not actually the name of it. The name of it is the TurboFry Touch dual window air fryer, but we're just going to call it the dual air fryer. So a couple things now after unboxing it, I used it once and I want to, I'm going to jump into the details of the cooking in a few. But for right now, I just want to show you a couple of things that I noticed with it, and I'm going to get ready to set something up in a moment as well in terms of I'm about to cook some chicken. But I have it in this little cramped corner next to my refrigerator, so don't mind the little setup being a little bit inconvenient. Hopefully you guys are able to get a decent angle for things right now. So one thing I really want to point out is on the baskets here, you have these little rubber pieces that go on it. Now, when I did the unboxing, you would have seen that at the beginning of the video, but I didn't realize if those things are supposed to remain on here or if they're not. If they're just something that, when you're unpacking it, they're there just to keep it from rubbing and you could take them off, because in my mind, I would have thought you aren't supposed to have that while you're cooking. But essentially, when I started washing, I actually forgot to take them off and I cooked with it and it wasn't a problem. Looking at the quick instructions, they aren't going to tell you anything on this, but if you look at the detailed instructions, it is going to tell you that these are here to keep it steady, so that way it doesn't, shift while it's inside the little basket. Now, the thing about it is, after cleaning, one of them fell off and I lost one. You can order more than one Amazon, but at the time I tried to contact the company and I wasn't able to even reach through. Their email wasn't working. Now, I did order an extra pack, but I think I could get by with just, obviously this one has a complete set and this one's missing one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video real quick, and then I'm going to get ready to put my chicken inside here, and then I'm going to show you how it works in terms of setting it up and pressing all the buttons and getting everything going, but you'll be able to see it on display. Okay, so try to work with the space I have. I got to move things around a little bit. Hopefully you guys can see everything fine. So I have my chicken. And I'm going to throw it into the basket. Gonna do 3 pieces. All right, so the load up the basket. Now it says in the instructions, do not use like any kind of cooking oil spray, anything from aerosol is not good. Now apparently I hear that that's something that all of them always say to you, for air fryers. But so I don't know how true that is, but we are going to abide by that for now. So we have the two buttons here for number one, number two. We're just going to be using number one. And now, if you guys recall at the beginning of the video, when I did the unboxing, there was a sheet, like a plastic clear sheet that was over this that showed cooking times for different things. Like, and I have it on the side right now on the side of my refrigerator because it says remove it from the product. And it says chicken, French fries, vegetables, and yada, yada, yada. Chicken, it says 400 degrees, and it says for 18 to 22 minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave the temperature as is, with just 400, and the time, I'm going to press time, and we're going to bring it up to 20 minutes. Now, we're going to press start. And there you go. Now, the thing about it is, there's a couple of different extra features that will come along. So during the halfway point, or somewhere within the middle of it, there should come a feature that says high fry, which will allow you to bring the temperature up to 450 degrees for 2 minutes only. So one thing I want to be clear when it comes to this product is that the advertisement is going to say to you that this air fryer goes up to 450 degrees. That is only for a small time frame to kind of just make the exterior of whatever you're cooking a little bit crispy, is what it says inside the instructions, almost like a broil feature. But I don't want you to get thinking that the baseline of this does 450. It doesn't. So if you have a lot of things that need to be that thin line between 400 and 450 or something in between there, just know that this is not going to accommodate that. So sometimes you have things like French fries that, will say, and they actually have that on the side of the, that was on display here. You could pause the beginning of the video to see that, but that little marker cooking guide that tells you for French fries, it says 400 degrees. Now, there are some French fries that I've seen over the years that will say 425, 430. I'm sure you could still cook them in here, and then you can activate that setting as well, where it does the whole 2 minutes of 450, but just be mindful that this is not a 450 cooker. Now, a couple of the features I'm going to run through real quick, and hopefully I don't forget everything because I read through the instructions before, but now I'm just going to go off the top of my head, and I did utilize these the other day when I was cooking steak. Now, you're not going to see all the display features on here right now, but essentially what you would have is, okay, it's not going to display it like this, so I'm going to turn this one off, but you would have certain things light up when you are using the fryer. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video. We're going to jump back to my normal table studio setup, and I'm going to go over things with the instruction manual because it's a little bit easier to see because these things aren't lighting up, and when you're using them, they light up for the certain options. But once you start it, you can, as you can see, they only display the things that you need at that current moment. Okay, you guys. So what I want to show here is, let me get something to point with. So here is the high fry button that it will light up when it's a certain way through. I think it's almost halfway through, and you have the option to go up to, like I said before, 450. You can pause the video, see all these things. And this pretty much explains all the things right here, but I'm just going to run through them. So if you're doing, there's sink basket and then there's sink finish. So sink basket just means that both of them are going to run the same way. Meaning that you set the temperature on number one, you set the time on number one, you press sink basket, and number two is automatically going to cook the same way. So if you're cooking two of the same things, you may want to do that. Two of the same things, but you just needed the space to put them each in separate baskets. So in this case, if I was doing chicken and chicken, I could just do sink basket. They're going to cook at the same time. Sink finish, what that means is, say if I'm cooking vegetables and it only needs 10 minutes, I'm cooking some kind of meat and it needs 20 minutes. If I do sink finish, what's going to happen is this is going to start cooking for 10 minutes. And once this thing hits the halfway point of that 20 minutes, which is 10 minutes, it will now this one will activate the second one, and they will now finish at the same time. So that way your meal is finished at the exact same time. The 2 minute plus 2 minutes is just a way to add 2 minutes onto the additional end. Similar to the way a microwave, you'd press the start button to add an extra 30 seconds. Well, in this case, you'd add an extra 2 minutes. And that's pretty much how you utilize it. My chicken is cooking, and I will show you guys what that looks like when it is done. Also, at some point in the video, if I haven't already done it, I'm going to insert a clip of just I had some vegetables and a steak cooking on the inside, and then what the steak looked like after the fact when it was done. So you're getting a little bit of mashup of a couple of different things displayed, but I just want to go over the details of it. With that being said, I'm actually going to give you, even though I haven't finished the cooking, based on the steak that I did, I'm gonna give you guys my insight on cooking with this thing. So pretty much my thoughts on the air fryer is, so when I cooked the steak, I cooked it for 400 degrees and I cooked it for 10 minutes to start. Then afterwards, I cooked it for I want to say that I did another 10 minutes after it, because I thought that it's supposed to have a sign that pops up that says shake, or it says shake. So this right here, shake, that's supposed to mean the halfway point that tells you to either shake or flip your food. And I was going to flip my steak. I never saw that sign come up. I don't know why. Maybe it doesn't make a sound and I didn't notice it, but I thought it was going to happen during the halfway mark, and it didn't. So with that being said, I went through the entire 10 minutes without having a moment to flip. I thought it was going to tell me to flip shortly afterwards. I ended up, after I stopped at that 10-minute mark, I ended up looking at the steak. To me, it wasn't ready. I put it in for another 10 minutes. After that, there was 2 steaks going at that time. And so one of my family members took out their steak at the 20-minute mark. I left mine in for an additional 4 minutes. Now, after that 4 minutes, the outside did look a little bit dry. When I did cut into it, the center was still pretty juicy, but the sides that were close to the edges were a little dry. The cooking experience didn't seem to be any necessarily faster than an oven, though then again, on an oven, you would put... Okay, so in the middle of me doing this, you may have just heard a beep. That beep was the shake light coming on. So it does come on. You just got to be around and aware to hear it. It's not going to be very loud. If you have a lot of other things going on inside the room, you're not going to hear that. So apparently that does happen at the midpoint, because at this point now it tells me I've got 8 minutes and 50 seconds left on the timer. So it does happen near the midpoint. So now I can confirm that it does happen. Just be mindful it's not very loud. So if you're in a different room, you're not going to notice that. But generally speaking, the halfway point, you could just remind yourself the halfway point is when you're going to have to do that. Now, another feature that I just realized is I took the container out and it stopped the air fryer. I wasn't sure if you have to press the stop button. I pressed the stop button yesterday when I was cooking a steak. When I did that, obviously it stopped the timer and everything. So you just pull it out and then that automatically stops the timer. And when you put it back in, it continues without you having to stop the whole process and your timings. Also be mindful that when you pull out your container, you're going to stop the sink finish will come to an end, because at that point, you're messing up the whole time frame and it's not going to stop the other one at the same time. So that just makes the second one will continue to go on while your first one will stop at that point. To the best of my knowledge, that is how it would work. Now, continuing what I was mentioning before, as far as the cooking and the quality of the cooking, the steak actually came out very nice. I think you just got to get used to the timings and how it works in retrospect to a oven, but a conventional oven. But at the same time, too, I also want to say that it didn't feel like, for me, it was any faster than a normal oven. But granted, normally with a normal oven, you would put broil for the for the steak. And in that case, it will cook faster than, say, a conventional oven, which then in that case, this was pretty thick steak too. I would say that it was probably almost as thick as like a finger and a half, or maybe a full finger, maybe. So it was pretty thick. And so in that case, it wouldn't cook as fast as your regular steak in an oven under the bake. So you really got to get used to what size of the food that you're cooking, the thickness of a steak or something like that, or whatever it is, and get used to that in regards to how the cooking is. Because a lot of times we've been cooking with ovens all our life that we already have it in our brain how long something has to be cooked for the size of it, the quantity, whatever the case is. But the experience was good. It was definitely easier. It was The cleanup process is a little more than your conventional oven if you're just using foil. It's still a very simple process. I guess because I'm cooking something that definitely requires a lot of, detailing in terms of making sure that it's well cooked, whatnot, versus say something like French fries. I won't say that it's faster in my experience, not to have a lot of experience than the conventional oven. So for those people who jump into it because they say it's faster, I don't know to say it's faster. Maybe it's easier because it gets started fast. You don't have to wait for the preheat. And in that regards, I guess you could say it's faster. But if you preheated your oven, which might take just 5 minutes, once your oven is preheated, I don't think it's necessarily faster. One benefit is you are able to cook two things, and that's the benefit of this particular air fryer. You can cook two things at different temperatures for different times at the same time. So that's that. I'll finish off the review with just showing the chicken when it's done. But in regards to just my thoughts and everything on it, this kind of really finalizes that part in terms of my thoughts on it. So stand by for me to finish the review with just showing you how the chicken came out. So here you can see the chicken is done. It gives me the option to add 2 minutes if I want. I did have a moment where I hit the high fry for like the last 2 minutes, and I already explained what that does. This right here, I'm just cooking some old frozen vegetables I had, so don't mind those. Here goes the chicken, and I am going to put it on a plate and then display it there. We'll come back in a second. All right, you guys, so here goes the chicken. This has been 20 minutes in, and hopefully you guys can see that well. It looks to be cooked pretty decent. Let me see how it tastes. Very soft, really good. I did do the 2 minutes of the high fry, so that might be why it's got a little bit of the crisp on it. So I'm going to eat these with those vegetables that I have, leftover vegetables that I had in there. But obviously you can see that it cooks. Like I mentioned before, I'm going to also throw in the clip of that steak. That was either before this or it's after this. Either way, you're going to see the steak that was made as well. I didn't have a chance to cut into the steak when I did it, but you see that, a picture of it inside the window of the pot of the cooking pot. And I already described to you the details of how long I set it in. You're just going to see a picture of it on this same kind of plate. All right, you guys, with that being said, as always, like, share, comment, subscribe. Any comments down below or any questions that you have about the cooker, just let me know. I'll catch you guys in the next video.